So welcome to our last yoga session of spring 2021. It is March 30th. Today's the last one. It's going to be a good one. It's a little bit cold out today, but we're going to get warmed up. So you can go ahead and make your way onto your mat if you're not there already. And gently lie down on your back. Your choice whether you would like to lie down fully stretched out, or perhaps you prefer to plant your feet a little wider than hip width apart, and then allow your knees to relax in toward each other. Or another option, if you have a rolled blanket or a pillow handy, you could just pop that under your knees to provide you with a little bit of support under the legs. And you could gently rock the hips or lift them just a little bit off the mat and settle them back down so that you have lots of room for your spine. Your lower back is feeling nice and long. And once you come down onto your back, you can allow yourself to close your eyes and take a few really big breaths, visualizing the air moving into your lungs, filling all the way from the bottom of the lungs all the way to the top, like you're filling two giant balloons. Hold for just a moment and then sigh it all out. I want you to do that a few more times. And as you sigh out, I want you to imagine that you're releasing excess nervous energy, busyness, preoccupation, distraction. Just with each exhale, letting all of that go. And reminding yourself that your mat is a safe space for you to do good things for yourself. And that while you're on your mat in this space and this time, everything else can wait. This is your time and yours alone. And the whole world out there can just be put on pause. And keep moving those breaths nice and big. Maybe sigh it out a few more times. Feeling your body soften in response to those exhalations. Picturing your muscles becoming very warm and soft, and even imagining maybe that you could see gravity and the gentle force of gravity pulling you down into your mat. No resistance, just allowing yourself to become very supple and very soft. And we'll do a little scan of our body, just noticing how each area is feeling on this particular morning, because your body never feels quite the same way twice. So we'll start with the toes, give them a little wiggle, and then checking in with the feet, do a little point and flex, and perhaps take some little ankle circles. Not worrying if we got a little snap, crackle, pop, that's normal. And then maybe circle the ankles the other way. And then passing our awareness up over the calves. You could just squeeze your calves tight for a moment and release them. Maybe just gently shift the knees back and forth a few times. And then flexing the quads, just giving them a little tighten up, maybe pulling your toes back toward yourself to help you tighten those quads, and then release them. Checking in with the hips. Apparently I forgot to do the muting. There we go. Oh, there we go. So checking in with the hips, maybe gently rocking them side to side. Making sure that your spine is feeling nice and long. Your awareness traveling up the spine. Stopping to notice your belly, nice and soft. Just gently rising and falling with the rhythm of your breath. And traveling up to the shoulders, just noticing where they are. If your shoulders are hunched up, try and push them down away from your ears. Arms are relaxed. You could flex your biceps and release. And then make little fists with your hands really tight and open the fingers. And again, ball up your fists, hold and release, and then wiggle the fingers, just releasing energy. Checking in with the throat. You might want to clear your throat or swallow. Noticing the jaw, making sure that the biting surfaces of your teeth are separated. And your face is very passive, very relaxed. Just a completely neutral expression. And your head is just supported by the floor. You're not trying to hold your head up. You're just allowing yourself to be really passive here. And as you notice your body, just remember not to pass judgment. We're just taking inventory here. And then you can turn your attention to manufacturing your practice breath. So a nice inhale through the nose. Hold for a moment at the top, and then exhale through the nose. Perhaps making a hissing sound at the back of the throat. You can circle that breath in the back of your throat. Inhale nice and slow. Hold and exhale through the nose. You can find the rhythm that works for your breath. It could be a little faster or a little slower than the rhythm that I've suggested. Just find what works for you and really consciously focus in on that breath. Taking a few more really conscious inhalations and exhalations. And then when you're feeling ready, you can begin to add in some gentle movement with your breath. So maybe wiggling fingers and toes, perhaps taking a big stretch long on your mat. You could lean over to the right and kind of make yourself into a crescent shape. And then perhaps lean to the left, crescent the other way. And then I'll invite you to hug your knees up toward your torso, hugging the right knee toward the right armpit and the left knee toward the left armpit. You can gently rock on your spine a little bit here. And then curl up into a little ball. So draw your head up in the direction of your knees, curling up into a little tiny acorn, holding for a breath. And then exhale, you can stretch long again. Take a big stretch. And then you can gently roll over onto your side. Pausing there for a couple of breaths. No rush to get up. And then when you finally do get up, just bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. So that could be with legs crossed or with legs extended out in front of you. No matter which variation you choose, make sure that your sits bones are connected to the ground, sitting up really nice and tall. Chest is broad, shoulders down away from the ears, and your hands can relax down onto your lap. Imagine that there's that invisible thread that's attached to the top of your head and pulling you straight up toward the ceiling. So your spine is very tall. Take an inhale to begin. Exhale, gently lower the chin to the chest. Pausing for a moment. And then inhale, bring the head back up through center. Now gently gazing up, just noticing the range of movement, finding the limitations, coming back to center. Exhale, chin comes down to chest. Inhale, bringing the head back through center. And again, gently looking up, respecting your own neck limitations, the limitations of that movement. And coming back to center, chin can come down to chest, and then we'll begin to take gentle circles with the head and neck. First, going whichever direction you prefer, making it nice and slow. And perhaps pausing anywhere where you feel like maybe you just need a little extra attention. And when you're feeling ready, you can reverse the motion. And again, hanging out in a place where you might need a little extra work is totally okay. And you can bring your head back to center. Bring our arms out into a T. I'll mirror you. So bring your left arm underneath your right. Hands can come onto the shoulders, or you could continue wrapping for eagle arms. In either case, push those elbows up, duck your head forward and down, and really round into the upper spine. So really breathing into that space between the shoulder blades. Nice big breaths. And then on an exhale, open the arms. This time the right arm comes onto the left. Again, wrapping for eagle arms, or hands come to shoulders. Push those elbows up, head ducks forward and down. And again, really round into the upper spine. Just breathing into that space. Keep the elbows actively moving upward. And arms can come out into a T, and then we'll just take some nice big gentle circles going forward first. Again, not too worried about any little snap, crackle, pop in the shoulder. It happens to all of us. And then you can reverse the motion. Again, making it nice and big and slow. Good. And you can bring your left hand down to the mat. Walk your fingertips out to the side, right arm reaching up and over, getting really long through the right side of your body, really breathing into those ribs and feeling them expand. And gently coming back up, bringing the right hand down to the mat, walking it out to the side, left arm stretching up and over as well. Again, nice deep breaths. Really actively stretching that left arm up and over, feeling the ribs expand. And coming back up to center, we'll bring the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind. If your legs are extended, then your left foot is planted, fist width between the legs. Make sure that that right thigh is rolled up and in. Left hand goes behind you, sitting up straight and twisting to the left. Reminding yourself not to lead with the head and neck. Let them be very soft. Feel the twist coming right from the base of the spine. And with each exhale, challenge yourself to try less and to relax into it. And on your exhale, you can untwist and then set up for the other side. If legs are extended, plant the right foot, left thigh rolls up and in, left hand comes to the right knee, sitting up straight and twisting toward the right. Again, check in with the head and neck. Make sure you're not leading with those. And allowing yourself with each exhale to just soften into this twist. And you can release. If your legs aren't already extended, then you can extend them straight, zip them together, actively peel those toes back toward you, sitting up really straight, chest is broad, hands can be down at your side in staff pose. You should already start to feel a little bit of engagement in the hamstrings here. And you can gently walk your hands forward, bow your torso forward, and just come into a place where you feel activation happening. This isn't about, grabbing the toes and yanking ourselves down. It's just a gentle bow. Let the head and neck relax. And then you can walk your hands back by your side, bring them out to the sides, rock onto the tailbone, lift the shins up parallel to the ground, coming into bow. So you can leave your fingers down to help you with your balance, or if you want to challenge yourself, bring your arms straight up. Fingers are very active and engaged here, as are the toes. The toes actively peeling back toward you. Engage the core. Chest is broad and drawing forward and up. Big breath here. Feeling the core engage. One more big breath. And you can bring your feet down. We will let the right leg go long on the mat. And I'd like you to take a hold of your left knee and your left ankle with your hands. So your first option is to hold your shin like you're holding a stick and draw that shin in toward your body. So that's option one. If you want to go a little deeper into this stretch, you could take a hold the outside of the left ankle and draw that ankle in toward you a little bit while actively pushing the knee outward. Make sure that your toes stay really engaged. This is a little bit of a variation on pigeon. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you could cradle your leg like it's a baby And then no matter which variation you've chosen, just use your hands to start circling into that hip. And then you can reverse the motion. And hug it in for just a moment. And release, and then we'll pick it up on the other side. So again, your choice. You could have a hold of the foot and the knee. You bring the hand around the outside, or even cradle the leg like a baby. And no matter which choice, just use your hands or your arms to start circling into that hip. And then you can reverse the motion. And then hug it in for a moment and release. Bring our legs around the side, coming onto our hands and knees into table. So knees are directly below the hips. Hands would normally be underneath the shoulders, but if your wrists are touchy, set them another 6 inches forward. Coming into your neutral tabletop, engaging the lower belly, flattening out the small of the back, coming to neutral to begin. Inhale, let the belly go down, raise the hips, head looks forward and maybe up, coming into cow. Exhale, reverse the motion, push up between the shoulder blades, drop the hips and head for cat. Inhale, coming through to cow, making that neck long. Exhale, pushing up between the shoulder blades for cat, really round that spine. Inhale, moving slowly through to cow. Exhale, coming to cat. Taking 3 more rounds with your own breath. If you like, you could add in some lateral movement. I like to move my feet to the right, look over the right shoulder. Keep moving, and then bring my feet to the left and look over my left shoulder. Just an option. You could wiggle it out here, freestyle a little bit. Just enjoy feeling the movement in your spine. And when you come to the end of your 3rd round of cat and cow, just come back to a neutral tabletop position. We'll inhale the right arm up. So sweeping the right arm up toward the ceiling, looking out to the right. Exhale, sweep that right arm underneath your left, reaching over toward the left. So inhale, sweep that arm up. Exhale, reaching it through under. One more time. Inhale, sweeping up. Nice big movement. Exhale, sweeping it down and through, holding for a breath. And then we'll set up for the other side. So left arm, sweep it up, really opening the chest. Exhale, sweep it down and under. Inhale, up. Exhale, moving down and through, threading that needle. And one more time. Inhale, sweeping it up. Exhale, reaching down and through. And then bringing the hand back to center. We'll bring the hands about a foot forward of where they would normally be. Turn your toes under. Open your heart toward the ground, coming into our variation of downward facing dog. You can stay here if you like and just work on opening your heart toward the ground. If you prefer, you could push your hips up and back, coming into the standing version of downward facing dog. If you're in the standing version, pedal those legs out, lengthening through the backs of the legs. No matter which version, heart is opening toward the ground. You're standing, you could really bend your knees and see if you can draw your chest in the direction of your knees. No matter where you are, stay for one more breath. And then slowly make your way onto your feet at the top of the mat, rolling up to stand. So standing nice and tall, abdomen is engaged. Sorry, there's someone outside my house trying to figure out what's going on. So abdomen is engaged, standing nice and tall. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, perhaps looking up toward your fingers. Exhale, swan dive forward, fingertips coming down toward the mat. You can cradle your arms one in the other and just allow yourself to hang long. And perhaps you feel a little breeze come along and you start to sway just gently back and forth, maybe even adding in a little bit of a bounce, really activating the hamstrings here. And then you can allow yourself to come to stillness. If you had cradled your arms, bring them down and then slowly roll up to stand, sweeping the arms up overhead and hands come to heart center. So inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, part the palms, sit down in an imaginary chair. So letting the hips get low. Hands can come onto the shoulders if it's touchy to keep your arms up. So coming into that chair, really getting the bum low. Try not to let your bum stick out. Try and scoop it under. So abdomen's really engaged. Sitting low. This is one of those poses I was mentioning to Shelly. This is how we build internal heat, even if it's cool outside. One more big breath. And release, coming into forward fold. Walk your fingertips around the outside of your right foot. Really bend the right leg and then straighten the left leg out a little bit and put your weight into your left hip. Should maybe feel a stretch through the outside of the left leg and the left hip. There's a band called the IT band, runs all the way up your leg. A nice way to give it a little stretch. And then come to center. Hands come around the outside of the left foot. Really bend the left knee. Straighten the right leg. And again, put your weight into that right hip. Again, feeling a stretch down the outside of the right leg. Lengthening the IT band. And then coming back to center and slowly rolling all the way up. Hands come to heart center. And one more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. This time we're going to plant the hands on the mat. Step the feet all the way to the back of the mat. Lower to the knees and untuck your toes. So you're coming into a plank position, a nice straight line from your shoulders all the way back to your knees. So a nice diagonal there. If you feel like your bum's out, tuck it in so that you're really making that plank. Abdomen is engaged. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, squeeze your elbows in toward your torso. See how slow you can lower your whole body down. So thighs come down, hips, belly, chest, and then finally forehead comes down to the mat. Hands can stay underneath the shoulders. Inhale, head comes up for cobra. Lifting right from the lower back. You could levitate your fingers up off the mat. And exhale, the forehead comes down. We're going to transition to locust. So bring your hands down by your hips on the backs of your hands. So your palms are up. Zip your legs together. Inhale, draw the head up, and then on your exhale, lift the arms and legs. So everything's lifting right from the lower back, coming into locust. Big work here. Breathe deep. One more breath. And exhale, head comes down, Everything else comes down. And you could gently rock your hips. You're kind of just wiggling your bum a little bit here, just releasing the lower back. And we'll set up for a second round. So zip the legs together again. Inhale, head lifts. Exhale, bring everything else up. Really strong, like a superhero flying through the sky, lifting right from the lower back. Big breaths here. Stay with me for one more breath, lifting and exhale. Head comes down. Good work. Wiggle that bum a little. Just release the lower back. And hands can come back onto your shoulders. If your legs got spread apart a little bit, just bring them back together. Push back up onto the knees. Turn the toes under, your choice. Modified downward dog on the knees or pushing the hips up and back and coming onto the feet. Whichever version you choose, make your breaths big and long. Open your heart toward the ground. And stay for one more breath. And then make your way onto your feet in a way that makes sense to you. And we'll all meet up standing at the top of the mat. Good. If you're not already sideways on your mat, bring yourself sideways on your mat. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. If you think you'd like a block to come down onto, you can put a block just in front of your torso now. So you can bring your hands to your hips and then walk your feet out, finding a stable wide-legged stance. Make sure that you really push the outer edges of your feet down into the mat, because if your weight is more on the inside edges of your feet could slide. So really push down on the outer edges of your feet, adjusting your stance, finding something that works for you. Hands back on the hips. Inhale, thinking about getting tall. Exhale, hand right at the hips, coming forward, allowing yourself to come down. Maybe your hands could stay on your shins. Maybe they come down on the block, or maybe they even come down onto the floor. It's all good. Any version works. Keeping a micro bend in the knees. And just allowing your torso to hang. Head and neck are completely relaxed. Big breaths here. On your next exhale, I want you to rise halfway up. So coming to a flat back, stay for a breath. And then on your next exhale, lower yourself back down. Maybe see if you could come a little further down. So if your hands do come onto the block or onto the floor, maybe you could bring them back a little bit, getting those hands really underneath you. Or if you have a hold of your shins, you could be drawing your chest down and underneath you. One more breath. And then slowly coming all the way back up to stand. Hands can come to your hips. We're going to walk our feet in slightly, so you can heel toe your feet in slightly. They're still going to stay fairly wide though. Bring your toes out on a 45-degree angle, so the toes are pointing away from each other. We're going to come into goddess pose. So standing up nice and straight, arms come straight out to your sides, bend at the elbows, and then palms face your head. Inhale, getting tall. Exhale, I want you to sink your bum down. If you like, you could also bring your arms down underneath. Inhale, getting tall. Exhale, coming down, maybe sweeping the arms down. Inhale up. Make sure that your chest isn't coming forward when you come down. Try and keep your chest upright. Inhale up. Exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. See how low you can get your bum to go. 1 more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. This time we'll keep the arms out and we will sit for just a moment. You could bring your hands onto your shins. Stay for a breath. And you can come up and release. Hands can come back to your hips and we'll walk our feet in. We're going to get ready for a balancing pose. So if you'd like to move closer to a wall or closer to a piece of furniture, you can go ahead and move there now. And we'll set up for tree. So feet narrow hip width apart, standing nice and tall. Your hands can come to your hips again. Before you think about going anywhere, fix your gaze on a non-moving point. Just zone right out on that point. Transfer your weight onto your left foot. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale that knee to the side. Plant the foot against your standing leg. Really active. So it could be on shin or ankle or toe down. Your choice. But actively push the free foot and the standing leg in together. Squeeze the bum tight, engage the core. Hands can come to heart center. Don't worry if you shake or sway. That's totally normal. All trees sway. They all sway in the breeze. Coming into your expression of tree pose on this side. Keeping the core engaged. And your hands can come back to heart center. Stay for a breath. Down to the hips. Inhale that free leg up. Straighten it out. Slowly lower it down with control. Good work. Shake out the standing leg. Get that circulation going. And we'll set up for the other side. So again, fixing our gaze on the non-moving point. Transfer your weight onto your right foot. Inhale the left leg up, knee out to the side. Plant the free foot and the standing leg together. So again, shin, ankle, or toes down. Hands can come to heart center. Squeeze the bum, engage the core, drawing everything up and in. And grow your tree on this side. Could be totally different than the other side. That's very normal. No two trees ever look exactly alike. And again, if you sway or shake, or fall out, just go with it. Get back in again. And hands can come to heart center. And down to hips. Inhale the free leg up. Straighten it out. Lower it slowly and with control. Good work. We're going to come down into squat. So if you prefer to make your way down onto your seat ahead of time, you can bring your bum down now. Perhaps you want that block handy to come down onto. If that's the case, you can put it under your bum now. In either version, standing or seated, feet are wider than hip width. Toes are pointed out on a 45-degree angle. If you're standing nice and tall, hands can come to heart center in either version. sinking down. If you're already down, bring the outsides of your arms on the insides of your knees. Always keeping the torso upright. Try not to let your torso collapse forward. If you came from standing, do a little shuffle. Get into those hips. And then no matter which version, find some stillness. Chest is broad and really tall. If I curve forward, it's much harder for me to get any stretch. So I'm really focused on sitting up tall. Nice deep breaths. And just trying to find a place of stillness where I'm noticing sensation, but I'm not reacting. I'm just breathing into it. Really slowing those breaths down. Two more breaths. And you can release your arms from the insides of your knees. If you're already down, stay down. If not, gently bring yourself down. Plant your feet hip width apart in front of you. Your choice. You could have your fingertips down for support, or you could cradle your arms one in the other, and then rock the knees back and forth, but also come up onto the hip, giving ourselves a little bit of an outer hip massage here, as well as just releasing the hips. And then coming to center, bring those knees together, feet stay planted, maybe extend them out a little bit further than you normally would. Chest comes down in the direction of the thighs. You could wrap the arms underneath and let your head relax forward and down so that you're not putting any effort into holding your head up. So coming into a very passive, restorative forward fold here. And if you are happy where you are, stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to explore folding forward a little bit more actively, extend the legs out in front of you, actively peel the toes back, and continue folding forward. And you can slowly bring yourself upright, plant the feet again, and allow the knees to come out to either side so that you're making a large diamond shape with your legs. Sitting up nice and tall, hands can be on your shins, and then gently lowering your torso forward. Again, allow the head and neck to relax. If you're feeling a little bit stuck in the outside of the hips, you could gently move the knees up and down like butterfly wings a few times. And then just allow yourself to really relax into this fold, finding a place of sensation and just staying there, breathing into it. One more big breath. And slowly bring yourself upright. If you're not already lengthwise on your mat, bring yourself lengthwise. We'll have the block handy for if you want to do a restorative version of bridge. But as always, bringing ourselves up to sit nice and tall, feet are planted, and release the hands and lower yourself back with control. So engaging the abdomen, slowly coming down until you can't control it anymore. So head is looking straight up toward the ceiling. Feet are planted just below the hips, and hands are, I'm just going to move this block for a second. Hands are down by your hips, palms down, pressing into the mat. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, pushing those hips up toward the sky for a bridge, really pushing down through the backs of the arms, the hands, and the feet. Seeing if we can get those hips to raise a little higher. Big breaths here, strong legs. One more breath. And hips can come all the way down to the mat. Gently windshield wiper the knees back and forth. And bring the knees back upright again. We'll prepare for a second round. So yogi's choice, you could have your block ready to come into restorative version, or you could take 2 more active versions. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, push the hips skyward. If you're using a block, bring the block under your sacrum now. So just above your bum and below the middle of your back, that flat sort of triangular area right above your bum. Bring your back down onto that. If you're actively bridging, keep pushing up. Nice big breaths, pushing down through the backs of the arms and the feet. The harder you push down, the higher the hips can go. One more breath. If you're in restorative, just stay exactly as you are. Active bridgers, bring those hips down. Windshield wiper the knees. And then for those of us practicing a third bridge, inhale to prepare. Exhale, pushing the hips skyward. Maybe you want to try rolling the shoulders under, clasping the hands behind the back, and pushing the hips a little higher. Sometimes you can get a little bit more rise there. No matter where you are, nice slow breath. If you're in a restorative bridge, you can plant your feet. Well, your feet should still be planted. So push down to the feet, bring the hips up, coming back into your active bridge, moving the block out of the way. Stay for one more breath. And then lower the hips down. So everybody's hips come down to the ground. Windshield wiper the knees back and forth. So feet are planted, cross the right ankle over just below the left knee. Right knee comes all the way out to the side. Right toes are really actively peeling back toward that knee, coming into the first variation of pigeon. If this is enough hip opening for you, you can stay exactly as you are, or maybe use your right hand to encourage that right knee out to the side. You could hug the left thigh in toward yourself, taking a hold behind the outside of the thigh or using a strap, drawing the left thigh in. Just remember to keep those right toes really actively peeling back toward the right knee. Coming into your variation of reclining pigeon. Big breaths. You can let the lower part of the left leg really relax. It has not much to do here. Two more breaths. And you can release, uncross the right leg, windshield wiper the hips a few times, or sorry, the knees rather. Release the hips. And then we'll set up for the other side. So crossing the left ankle over just below the right knee, left knee all the way out to the side, really actively peeling those left toes back toward the left knee. You could stay here, maybe encouraging the hips to open just by using the left hand to encourage the left knee outward. Or you could draw your right thigh in the direction of your torso. So using a strap or intertwining your hands behind your thigh, hugging that thigh in. Lower right leg can relax. Just make sure you keep those left toes really actively peeling back toward your knee. Big breaths here. Imagining there's lungs in our hips and we can breathe right into that space. One more breath. And if you had a hold of your thigh, release it, uncross the leg, and bring the arms out wide. We'll cross the right leg over the left, no gap between the thigh. If you know that you'd like a supported version of your twist, you could bring a pillow or your block right by your left hip. So arms are out in a T, head is looking straight up. Set your hips over to the right side ever so slightly, and then lowering both legs over to the left. Perhaps the hip or the left thigh is coming onto your support, so you can just totally relax. Let the weight of your legs be passive. Don't hold it up. Do make sure that you keep that right shoulder firmly in contact with your mat. If it's rolled up, bring it back down. Maybe you need to untwist just a little bit. Once you find your version of twist, just breathe into it. Allow yourself to be very soft. Just allowing the twist to happen by not trying at all. One more breath. And gently bring the knees back upright. Uncross the legs. Set the hips straight again. If you're using a prop on the other side, bring it over by your right hip. Now, arms come out wide, crossing the left leg over the right with no gap between the thighs. Ever so slightly, setting your hips off to the left, lowering the knees over to the right. Again, making sure that left shoulder stays firmly in contact with the mat. If it doesn't come out of your twist a little bit, move that prop, if you're using it, move that prop toward your hips. Really allowing the full weight of your legs to relax over so that you can become really passive and twist more by trying less. And gently bring your legs back upright. Uncross the legs. Set the hips straight. I invite you to hug your knees in toward your torso. Give them a nice squeeze. Right knee towards right armpit, left knee toward left armpit. You could stay here and proceed to rock on the lower back, or perhaps you'd like to reach your arms through inside of the knees, take a hold of the outsides of the feet and draw the feet up, coming into happy baby. Either version, roll around on your lower back. Give yourself a little back massage because you deserve it. And then you can set yourself up for your preferred Shavasana. So maybe if you have a rolled blanket, you'd like to set that under your knees. Maybe you want to grab a drink of water, grab a blanket, or perhaps you'd prefer a more restorative version, so you could plant your feet further than hip width apart. Allow the knees to relax in towards each other so you don't have to support your legs. Find something that works for you. Make sure that you lift the hips ever so slightly. Settle them back down, making sure you have lots of room for the lower spine. If you'd like to release energy, you could have your arms just resting by your side. If you'd like to hold on to some of the energy from your practice, you could bring your right hand onto your belly and your left hand over your heart. No matter where you end up, once you come into your Shavasana, take a few really nice big breaths. Sighing them out. With each big exhale, allowing yourself to release the effort of your practice, the intention of your practice, and just letting your muscles completely soften. Your body becomes very yielding and just kind of melts down into your mat. There's no resistance and no effort. As you slip into a state of relaxation, if your mind wanders, just gently bring it back towards your breath. Excuse me. If you'd like to more actively work with your breath, you could take this opportunity and use your box breath here. If you are not into that, just breathe as you normally would. If you'd like to follow along, you can inhale for the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. If you're doing a box breath, allow yourself to develop the rhythm that works for you. If you're practicing your box breath meditation, I'll invite you to finish your last breath and then take a really big breath in and release, letting your meditation breath go. You can bring your awareness back to your body and begin to take gentle movement, wiggling fingers and toes. You ball up the hands into fists and release. And again, fist and release. And take a nice big stretch so you could get long. Maybe you stretch yourself laterally. And when you're feeling ready, gently bring yourself over onto your right side and pause there for a couple of breaths before bringing yourself up to a seated position. And once you bring yourself up, find a comfortable seated position for you. Drawing yourself nice and tall. Hands can come to heart center. Take an inhale, and on an exhale, lower your chin to your chest. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger to a friend. Melody Beatty. Thank you so much for joining me for practice today and for the past 12 weeks. It's been a real honor to help guide you on your yoga journey. Namaste. All right, we'll end the recording. Bye.